as you can see, we're looking at the underside of a machine. This is a touch and sew 626. The touch and sew machines came in a variety of gear setups. The early ones had all steel gears, like the 400 and the 500, and they shared cam stacks with the 401 and the 500A, and then they just had the special drive for self-winding bobbins. And then later there are two versions with plastic gears. There's this style that's got all plastic gears all the way up into the top of the machine, and then a belt drive version that does belt drive to this end here by the motor, and then has plastic gears on the hook side for drive. This machine, the bobbin, the hook drive gear lost all its teeth, and so I'm gonna be putting a new gear on it. And this is why a lot of people don't want to repair touch and sews, because if these gears go on this end, these can be easily replaced, but the plastic gear up in the top of this machine, when that goes, it's completely impossible to get at. The belts last a little bit longer, but the belt is very hard to get at for replacing. There's an improved set of gears as well. So these are the old square cut gears, and I'm only replacing this one gear just because the cost of the rest of these gears is enough. They've been inspected and look okay. It's not worth doing the rest of these because there's no telling which of these gears is going to fail, and if it's the top one up in the top of the machine that is really hard to get out and really hard to replace, then spending money on any of the rest of these gears kind of an extra charge that nobody needs. So I have this apart. I'm gonna put this gear on, and the hook has a flat on it, and the center shaft here is held in place by the gear mesh. So when you reassemble this, if you over tighten the gear mesh and put extra pressure on these gears, that will grind the teeth out faster. So you need to be careful setting your tooth clearance on here. And I'm gonna just stick so because there's a flat on the hook gear needs to go in, and then I'll need to loosen one of these other gears to do the actual timing of the machine. But let's alright, this one has two set screws on it, so it's going to be this end will loosen, which is what I expected, but let's see now. Let's see now. The flat is not related to the hook directly, so I'm just gonna set the hook close, put this gear on, and then help if I grabbed the right size ball driver. You need to make sure that the hook is all the way down in its position when you put it in. There is an updated set of gears that they made for these machines with the helical drive profile. I'll try to include a photo of those. If you need to do both of these gears, then, because a lot of times they'll grind each other off before one of them fails entirely, the updated gears are quieter. So with this in place, I'm going to finish cleaning the rest of the bobbin drive mechanism, and then we'll reinstall that. Alright, our new drive gear is underneath the hook here. It's time to install the touch-and-sew bobbin driver, and that is going to go in there. And it's just going to drop right in when you've got the machine rotated so that the feed dogs and this thread guide are all the way to the back here, and then on the side of the drive there's a notch. See this notch on the side of the drive there, and when you're setting it in place, rotate it and it'll clear this and drop right into its location. This touch-and-sew has the little flipper bobbin winding lever in it, so we need to set that in the top here before we go underneath and finish assembling the touch-and-sew drive. Alright, having grabbed a twist drill and cleared the plastic flash out of this drive hole, you can see our drive washer fits much better. And now we're ready to add the next piece. The next piece is this sprung bracket. So we have to get the spring into that hole, which is under the front edge of the machine. And then there's a pin here that goes over the spring, and this bracket fits onto over the end of the drive shaft. And I already forgot, then this nut that goes on there, this nut is reverse threaded, okay? So the nut tightens against the washer so that everything turns on that bracket, and the nut is reverse thread. So to tighten it, we need to go counterclockwise, and it's reverse thread because as the machine turns forward, if that nut gets stuck, it will tighten instead of loosening. So that's all in place, and with that in place, we're going to get fresh oil on this spring piston, which if it was not moving, I would pop that out and put oil in there with the spring, and then fresh oil on the bottom of the bobbin drive bracket. And then when you oil the machine from the top, oil goes down the drive shaft and the bobbin shaft. But see, we want this to move nice and freely. If your machine is all gummed up and you are having trouble with the winder and you push on this from underneath and it doesn't pop out really reliably, you need to take this apart and clean it. Now, for this style of engager bracket, you can see this is a plastic piece on a metal shaft. Tons of them get this crack. I believe they're still available, but if you catch it before this piece breaks entirely, you can always just put a dab of super glue in to reinforce it, which is what I've done here. And there's a set screw and a flat. And this set screw happens to be a flathead set screw. So I'm holding the bracket down and I'm just gonna snug this up right now. This is the release position so that the bobbin drive is at its lowest point, not engaged the bobbin. That means there's no spring pressure on here. And I've got against the set screw, so when you turn it, it moves. And then the adjustment we'll have to make is making sure that this is lifting high enough, because you see I've got quite a bit of play there. Make sure this is lifting high enough to drive the bobbin, but is releasing enough to let the thread pass under the bobbin when the machine sews. If you don't make it lift high enough, obviously it won't drive the bobbin for winding. But if you set this bracket too high, then it won't lower out of the way and allow the machine to sew.